villa that rented for $800 a month in 2019 rents for about $1,400 today. That same dollar now buys the full digital nomad setup in Da Nang for around $1,000 a month, roughly half the Bali number. The math changed. The tourist levy is still active. Bali's immigration task force ran 2,600 deportations in the first half of 2025 alone. For 10 years, Bali was the auto pick, the cheap paradise default that beat every Southeast Asian alternative on cost and amenities at once. In 2026, that gap closed. The alternatives caught up. The visa rails tightened. In this video, I walk the actual 2026 numbers, what villa rents reset to, what the visa friction costs, the three forces that broke the default pick math, and the two Southeast Asian cities, Chiang Mai and Da Nang, that now beat Bali for different buyers. Stay to the end. The one traveler Bali still wins for is the only honest verdict left. Numbers keep coming back in this video. 20%. The year-over-year jump in Canggu Villa rent into 2026, 2,669. Foreigners deported from Bali in the first 7 months of 2025, 6.33 million. International arrivals Bali recorded in 2024, beating its pre-pandemic peak on an island of 4.4 million residents. Those are not opinions, they are sourced. Together, they describe a place that got more expensive, more restrictive, and more crowded at the exact moment the alternatives got cheaper and easier. Two scope notes. One, this is about the 85% of travelers who actually go to Canggu, Seminyak, Ubud, and Uluwatu. If your Bali is Ahmed or Munduk, this analysis does not apply to you, and you already know it. Two, I am not comparing Bali against 2019 Bali. I am comparing it against Chiang Mai and Da Nang, the cities competing for the same dollar right now. The thesis is narrow on purpose. Bali still wins for one specific buyer. For two other buyer profiles, the math now points somewhere else. Stay through to the visa floor number in Chapter 6, the figure that quietly disqualifies most U.S. nomads from the legal Bali path. Changed is not one thing, it is three at once. First, cost compression. Land around Canggu, Uluwatu, and Tabanan climbed roughly 50% against the 2019 baseline, and asking rents in Canggu jumped about 20% year-over-year into 2026. The cheap paradise gap Bali leaned on for a decade compressed against alternatives that did not climb. Second, friction load. The tourist levy of 150,000 rupiah is still active. The visa on arrival is still $35 with another $35 for the extension, and officials publicly floated doubling the levy because collection landed under 23% of target by mid-year. Third, experience decay. 6.33 million international arrivals in 2024, a record, on an island of 4.4 million residents. As of mid-2026, no public data shows costs or entry friction moving downward, and every official signal points in one direction. The cost and friction stories are the visible half. The third force, the crowd math, is the one that surprises most people, and the number behind it is bigger than most nomad forums admit. Bali tourist levy is 150,000 rupiah, or about $10, charged once per entry to every foreign visitor. It launched in February of 2024, and it is still in force in 2026. That is not the headline. The headline is the math on top of it. A standard 60-day tourist stay through the visa on arrival path runs around $80 all in. The levy, the $35 visa on arrival, and the $35 extension you now have to physically appear at an immigration office to receive after June of 2025. That extension used to be doable by agent, now you queue. And mid-2026, the Bali government floated doubling the levy to 300,000 rupiah. $20 per entry is not a deal-breaker. The direction is the story. As of mid-2026, nothing tracked in this audit has gotten cheaper or easier. And the villa reset is the bigger number. That reset is next, and it surprised me. Now the cost reveal. A one-bedroom pool villa in Canggu that asked 10 to 12 million rupiah a month in 2019 is asking 12 to 18 million today. a roughly 20% year-over-year climb just into this year. Villa transaction prices Bali-wide averaged about 50% year-over-year between early 2024 and early 2025. Ubud one-bedrooms in the Nomad Core sit around $1,160 a month. Dojo Canggu co-working lands near $110, Outpost Ubud near $125. A scooter runs $46 to $62 a month, a warung meal still $1 to $3. Added up, and the comfortable digital nomad total for 2026 lands at $1,900 to $2,400 a month in Canggu or Ubud. That is the new floor of the Bali nomad math. It used to be the Chiang Mai number. Every dollar on that table has a source link in the description, and the rent reset is only one of three forces. The next one deported 2,600 people and is patrolling co-working spaces right now. That is next. This is the part most travel videos skip. In the first 7 months of 2025, Bali authorities deported 2,669 foreigners. 2,000 more were detained. A 100-person immigration task force is patrolling Canggu, Seminyak, and 8 other zones, yoga studios, co-working spaces, and warongs that look like they host nomads working on tourist visas. Doing remote work on a B211A social visa has become significantly riskier. Raids have landed the same day in documented cases. The blacklist for an overstay or unauthorized work runs 1 to 6 years. The clean legal path is the E33G remote worker KITIS, launched in April of 2024, and it requires $60,000 a year in declared income, 3 months of bank statements showing at least $2,000 in balance, and international health insurance. If that income bar is out of reach, one of the alternatives coming up will fit your number. In documented 2025 cases, the outcome was deportation, not a fine, and the blacklist runs 1 to 6 years. That was the friction story. The crowd math, the third force, is even more lopsided than the deportation figure. 6.33 million people showed up at once, and the number behind that is bigger than most nomad forums admit. That is next. Bali received 6.33 million international visitors in 2024, a record, past the 6.28 million peak of 2019. Add domestic arrivals and the total hits 16.4 million people on a 4.4 million resident island in a single year. The first 5 months of 2025 ran another 2.64 million international arrivals, up about 13% year-on-year. Australia is the top source market, then India, China, the United Kingdom, and South Korea. The US is not in the top 5. Bali is regional tourist-driven, and the region is still scaling. The metro line meant to relieve Canggu congestion is targeted for 2028, not in service for anyone watching this in 2026. If you already know the crowd math, skip to the Chiang Mai chapter below, around the 8-minute mark, for the numbers. Otherwise stay, because the cost gap to each alternative is wider than most guides admit, and the visa math behind it is even more lopsided than I expected. That is next. If you are optimizing purely for cost and visa stability, this is your section. Surf and wellness buyers, your answer is the When Bali Still Wins chapter below, around the 10-minute mark. The cleanest cost alternative is Chiang Mai. A comfortable digital nomad total in 2026 lands at $900 to $1,500 a month, with one-bedrooms in the city center renting $300 to $500 and co-working running $70 to $190. The visa rail is the part Bali cannot match, Thailand's destination. Thailand visa, the DTV, costs about $280 and is valid for 5 years with 180-day stays. The requirement is a 500,000 baht savings balance, roughly $14,000. Compare that to Bali's E33G with its $60,000 income floor. Chiang Mai gives you the same nomad infrastructure, fiber internet, dense co-working, a mature expat community, at roughly half the all-in cost and on a 5-year footing. The one honest caveat, February through April is burning season, and air quality drops hard. If you can split the year, the math gets even better. For pure cost nomads in 2026, this is the new default. File 2. If your trips are structurally under 3 months and beach access is non-negotiable, this section is for you. Cost-only buyers can jump back to the Chiang Mai chapter above, around the 8-minute mark. If the surf in Bali is the reason you came, Da Nang is the alternative that actually competes. Mai Khe Beach is a long warm crescent, and the air quality holds where Chiang Mai's drops. A comfortable Da Nang Nomad total lands at $1,000 to $1,300 a month. One bedrooms in the center, 300 to 500, co-working 80 to 120. The visa is the friction. Vietnam does not yet have a long-form nomad visa, so the move is 90-day e-visas at $50 each, repeated as long as you stay under the 183-day tax residency line. That is a real loop, not a clean 5-year shot like the DTV. But the cost delta from Bali is 40 to 50%, and the infrastructure improves every quarter. The Da Nang case is straightforward. If your travel is structurally under 3 months at a time anyway, you do not need a long visa, and you can buy beach plus the Bali aesthetic for half the all-in. 2 alternatives walked. One specific buyer still picks Bali over both of them, and the reason is not the cost. That buyer is next. At the start, I said there was one traveler Bali still wins for in 2026. This is that traveler. The surf and wellness stack. Someone whose week is built around a 4:30 a.m. Uluwatu or Padang Padang dawn patrol, a midday yoga or breathwork session in Ubud or Canggu, and a community of people doing the same things on the same schedule. The Bali wellness ecosystem is, in my experience, among the deepest and most internationally staffed in Southeast Asia. The studios tend to be more established, the teachers more often international tier, the surf breaks within scooter range strong for most skill levels, and the full moon ceremony culture is hard to match in Chiang Mai or Da Nang at the same scale. If your week depends on that stack, the higher cost is the right price. The surf and wellness Bali buyer is real. The cost and co-working Bali buyer is not anymore. For them, the alternatives now win. If that stack describes your week, Bali still wins. Does it? The decision framework that names your answer regardless of which profile you are is next. It's the framework for the comment section. 3 buyer profiles, 3 answers. Profile 1 is the Chiang Mai chapter around 8 minutes. Profile 2, the Da Nang chapter around 9. Profile 3, the When Bali Still Wins chapter around 10. All above, with exact timestamps in the chapter list below. 1. If your goal is the cheapest mature digital nomad infrastructure on a clean 5-year visa rail, the answer is Chiang Mai on the DTV. 2. If your goal is beach access plus low cost and your travel is structurally under 3 months at a time, the answer is Da Nang on 90-day e-visas. 3. If your goal is the surf and wellness stack with the deepest community in Southeast Asia and you can absorb the cost, the answer is still Bali on the E3 3G Ketis. The default pick era is over. The math now picks for you. Which profile matches how you travel right now? Drop your number 1, 2, or 3 and your city below. I read everyone. Bali did not get worse. The alternatives got better. That is the line. The math now picks for you instead of you picking by default. If your goal is the lowest all-in number, the answer is Chiang Mai. If your goal is beach at half the Bali price, the answer is Da Nang. And if your goal is the surf and wellness stack, Bali still wins. 3 buyer profiles, 3 cities. So which profile actually matches how you travel right now? Drop your profile number, 1, 2, or 3, and your current city in the comments. What is the lowest all-in monthly cost you have actually lived on, and where? I read every reply. Every week I put one destination through this same cost and visa audit. No hype, every number sourced. Next video is Bangkok versus Bali, and the data already has a clear winner that surprised me. Subscribe so you do not miss the answer.